Alright guys, we're going to start the build for the contest winner, which is David Durbin. And as you can see, I already started sanding this down. We're going to be using a 100 grit to get the sheen off of this, and then we're going to move down to a 220 grit. Then I'm going to prime this whole thing and then start drawing out my design. I have no clue as to how I'm going to build this building yet, so I'm going to be coming from the imagination. Anyhow, we'll just go over it one more time. Now I could take this out to my garage and do it in my little electric sander, but it's early in the morning and I don't want to have any problems with my neighbors, so I'm doing this by hand. Finally caught a break after everything that's been happening with my guests and all that kind of stuff. So this is an important step. If you're using these for sale signs, you need to sand them down. Okay, and then we're going to move over to a, let me get the 100 grit. I'm sorry, I meant to say the 220 grit, which is here. As you can see, 220. Just use a little block of wood as my sanding block. Anyhow, I'll just go over this one more time. And I'll do the other side the same way. I intend to paint the inside also. The building will be basically the same as jacs, except I'm going to modify it a bit because I don't like having two structures the same on two different layouts. Anyhow, now I'll take a wet sponge and I'll go ahead and wipe it down. And then I'll go ahead and clean the sponge off and do it again. So I'll be right back. Okay, now that I've got it pretty much wiped down, I'm going to go ahead and dry it off. And I'll let it air dry also before I go ahead and do the primer coat on it. And the reason why I'm doing a primer coat now is so I can see all the lines that I draw out on it. And of course all of these holes and stuff will be cut off of here. Anyhow, let me give it a few minutes to dry up and we'll take it out to my garage and we'll give it a spray paint. Alright guys, an important step when you're doing scratch build using the for sale signs is always make sure that it's square, and as you can see that it is square. And hopefully my cuts will come out just as square as the piece of plastic is. So I'm going to go ahead out to my garage now that it's dry, and we'll give it a primer coat. So now that my plastic is primed, I am going to cut off the holes like I mentioned before, and again I'm making sure that everything is straight, and I got my 3-foot measuring device clamped down, and it's the same on both sides. Square there and it's square there. Anyhow, I'm going to use a utility knife to cut this, and I'm sorry if I get in the way, but I have to work from my right side, from my left side. Anyhow, we'll go ahead and start cutting this. And you don't need to push too hard, just let the knife do the work. And I'll do this on the remaining holes that are left in here. I am giving it a little bit of pressure because this plastic is quite thick. It's probably about 40 thousandths. And if you're wondering why I have the paper under there, it's so no dirt will get onto the paint from the board that I'm working on. And here you go, one side cut. I'll do the same for the other two sides, and then we'll continue on from there. So now that I have all my corners cut off, all my holes that I should say, I'm measuring for square, and as you know, if you measure diagonal, you need to come up with the same measurements on both sides. So from this corner to this corner is 24 and 7/16. And let's see what we got from here. From this corner to corner, we have 24 and 7/16. So I'm reasonably sure that this piece of plastic is now square. Now I can go ahead and draw out my my design on what I want for this. The building is going to be 21.5 inches long, and I know David's layout can handle this. 21 and just short of half, so it's 21 and 7/8. I'm sorry, 21 and 3/16. Next step I do is going to be measuring the correct height for the loading dock, and thanks to Jack, he has sent me a HO car and a piece of HO track that I did for his builds. Anyhow, we're going to go ahead and measure that, and it looks like we got about 6.5 feet to the loading dock. Or maybe even 7 feet. 7 feet to the loading dock. Anyhow, I'll go ahead and measure that on here, and then we'll draw a line, and that will be my reference point. Be back in a minute. Alright, now that I've got the loading dock marked out, next thing for me to do is to measure where the doors are going to be for the loading dock. These are two 50-foot box cars, and I will put center to center at 50 feet. Anyhow, I'll go ahead and just put a little tick mark where I want the doors. And I'll go ahead and do some door drawings on there. Alright, I almost made a mistake. Yeah, I do make mistakes. When I did the loading platform, I said it was 7 feet. In actuality, it's only 4 feet, so I redid it. And always measure twice and cut once. Two 15-foot by 15-foot doors, a people door, and a few windows up at the top, and it'll be the same on the opposite side also. So anyhow, I'll go ahead and cut this piece of plastic out, and the total height of this building from the top of the platform to the top of the roof will be about 40 feet. So anyhow, I'll continue on with this, and I'll bring you back when I get a little further along. Alright guys, now that I've got the first wall all cut out, I'll show you the products I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using this 8058 Tichy Group's windows. I'm going to be using 8036 windows by Tichy Group, and I'm also going to be using 8009 doors. And I hope that you follow this along. This is going to be part 1, and part 2 will be coming up shortly. Anyhow, I hope you guys and gals enjoyed this video, and as always, your questions, comments, inputs, subs, shares, and likes are always welcome. For now, that's all folks. BNSF 6951 out.